Thanks for coming. This is going to be an exciting event. We haven't had one quite like this before. It's exciting in the sense that we're going to be doing summer grilling, which most of us think of as hamburgers, hot dogs, and steaks. And we're not going to have any of that. This is going to be all from the vegetable kingdom instead of our animal friends. And somebody just gave me a quote from Genesis here that I thought I ought to read to you because it fits right in with what we're doing. So it says, Genesis 1:29, and God said, Behold, I have given you every herb-bearing seed which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be as for meat. So vegetarianism goes back a long way, all the way to Genesis. So I don't have anything against meat. I just think it should be more like a condiment than the main course, because there's so many other things you're going to miss out on if you have the whole big snake and then you're too full to eat the veggies. But one thing that I've really discovered with grilling vegetables is that those pesky little bees, those little brown bees that look sort of like a hornet, they have the black and white stripes on them, that were always around the grill when you were grilling burgers or steaks. They don't want to have anything to do with it. So that's a plus, besides all the other pluses: lower calorie density, lower cholesterol, lower saturated fat, all those wonderful things. But there's a few people I want to introduce. I don't know if all of you have met Lisa, our medical assistant. Lisa's fairly new here, and we're really happy to have her. She's working out really great with the team. And we have Heather. Heather's our new health coach. You probably know that Olivia took a position at a charter school as their athletic director, and she helped orient and get Heather up to speed. Heather's a graduate of the NAU Exercise and Wellness Program, so we're really glad to have her on board. And somewhere else, oh, there he is, Jay Saxena from the head office in Richmond, Virginia, the N1 head office. He's here to enjoy this event and enjoy the dining pleasures we have in store for him. And his job is to make sure everything's working smoothly in the N1 network. So if you have any questions for the head office, he's the man. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Nita. I'm going to go out and start the grills and start cooking for you. So see you soon.
And I want to also thank Jay for coming out to this event. And did you want to share anything with us?
Sure, I'll be glad to say a few things.
Great,
and
thanks.
an opportunity to speak about health. This is exciting. You know, this is great to see a group this large coming for an event. And what's really neat is these doctors' offices. You know, this wasn't done in doctors' offices. Cooking events in the lobby. This is really neat. Cooking vegetables. This is really unique. And what's really nice about the doctors and coming and visiting the doctors and the practices and seeing the patients is all of you are part of this pioneering community. You guys have made a decision to invest in your health and improve the quality of your life. Today, in today's day and age, in this country, around the world, it's not like that. A lot of people that haven't decided to prioritize their health, and you guys have. And that's inspiring. And that gives me a job because it allows us to go out and find other doctors to continue to try and find patients that are, you know, matching patients up that are investing in their health with doctors that want to create better health for all of you. So I commend all of you, and I want to thank all of you for what you guys do to send out a message to others in our community of investing in your health and trying to find better health and partnering with doctors that are committed to it. I mean, this practice is really exciting to see when I get to talk to Nita and also to Dr. Morris about the things that they're doing and the way that they're changing lives and that way that we're all improving the quality of our life as we get older and we move on. It's exciting to hear the stories that come out of here. And hopefully what we'll be able to do more of is sharing those stories of other patients across the country that are experiencing things just like you all are, and seeing the successes and the investment that you're making from eating better and learning how to eat better, exercising more, managing your stress better, and sleeping better. So thank you very much. And if you have any questions for me later, I'll be glad to answer any questions about N1 Health and what we're doing.
Okay, so basically, this kind of little free-form popcorn thing going on here. Okay, basically, I have some vegetables from, most of them are from my garden, and I'm going to be showing you how I would prepare them for the grill. We already have a bunch of vegetables that are prepared for the grill. Dan's gone out and Jay's going to do some grilling as well. And they're going to get them all heated up, and in about 10 minutes or so we'll put the vegetables on. So one of the nice things about grilling vegetables is that it's a pretty quick meal. And you get all of the heat out there, and it's fairly simple to get everything ready, and fairly simple to clean up too. So it's really nice. And Heather has a story to share with you about what she decided to do last summer. So I'm going to turn it right over to Heather, and she's going to tell us about the health benefits of grilling and many other things. So, yay, Heather.
Hello. I just want to say how excited I am to be here and to be a part of this team. I've recognized some of your faces already for the people who've already seen me, and it's just a pleasure to be here. So thank you. Okay, so last summer I was in Flagstaff, and my apartment was being renovated, and I went over to my mom's house to basically do some of my cooking. And I didn't really want to cook inside the house. It's much too beautiful outside in the summertime. So I decided that I was going to try to cook every single meal on the outside grill. So I did for about a month straight, actually. And it was a lot of fun, and I had such a good time with it. And I was really amazed on how easy it was. A gas grill. I had a gas grill. But I will talk about charcoal if any of you are really interested in charcoal or charcoal versus gas and what that means later on down the road. But basically what I did is I just purchased a bunch of produce. I didn't really cook that much. I did cook some meat, but a lot of it was mainly fruits and vegetables. And all of the wonderful recipes and food that I was able to get from it was just amazing and surprisingly so simple. Some of the vegetables that we have chopped up here are seasoned with olive oil, a little bit of salt and pepper, a little bit of seasoning, and that's it. All the rest comes from the grill and the juices that caramelize on a grill. Super easy, super fast. So, some of the benefits of grilling are you don't lose as many vitamins and nutrients as if you were to say boil vegetables. A lot of times broccoli or any type of vegetable, you put it on a pot with some water, stick a lid on it, and boil it on the oven. Well, that's one way to cook vegetables, but a lot of times all of the vitamins and the nutrients are in the water. It seeps out of the vegetables, and now it's in the water, and what do we usually do with the water? We dump it out. So, this way, you still get some cooked vegetables that maintain their nutrients. Now, anytime you cook with high heat, you're going to lose some nutrients, especially vitamin C. Vitamin C is very heat sensitive, but it still relatively maintains intact. It's also better than microwaving. How many of you have put vegetables in the microwave with a little bit of water and turn it on for 5 minutes or so? Yeah, so that really loses almost all of its nutrients. You still might get some fiber and some traces amount of micronutrients, but it really sort of defeats the purpose of eating vegetables. Not to say that you can't do it every once in a while, but that's why we're here showing you an alternative to this. So other reasons why grilling vegetables is very healthy is that sometimes the micronutrients actually are enhanced when you cook vegetables. Take, for instance, carrots. Carrots are more bioavailable, meaning that when you eat them cooked, the nutrients are more readily absorbed in the body, such as carotenoids. And same thing with the yams, or the sweet potatoes that just went out, that yellow color, that's usually what's the nutrients, carotenoids. Same with tomatoes. Tomatoes, roasted tomatoes, grilling tomatoes, cooked tomatoes have the vitamin, let's see, lutein in them or lipocene in them, and that's for eye health. So
Like bees.
that's really good to know. Yep, there they are, right there. Perfect. And one really awesome thing about grilling vegetable too is to get these skewers and just dice, I guess chop either like some bell peppers or some zucchini, some mushroom, put them on a skewer and grill them that way. It takes a few minutes. It takes like 8 to 10 minutes maybe, depending on the vegetable that is. So in your packet, if you open it up to the first page, top 5 reasons to grill vegetables. Reason number 1 is it brings out a really great flavor, a smoky flavor to vegetables. Any vegetable, it doesn't matter what it is. It does the same thing with the gas grill. So number 2 is that we talked about before. It retains more vitamins and minerals than boiling vegetables. Number 3, reduces weight and other risk factors such as gout when you eat more vegetables. You stay fuller longer. You're more satiated. You're more satisfied with the fiber and the awesome flavors that you get from grilling. So it keeps you full longer. And then along with those vitamins, it really helps clear out the body's toxins. Number 4 is higher energy levels. And again, it regulates blood sugar. It regulates the spikes. It regulates the diving down levels of the blood sugar. And then number 5, which is my favorite one, this is why I grilled for much straight breakfast, lunch, and dinner, is that it was super easy to clean up. It was great. Practically no dishes because I just kind of picked up whatever was off the grill, put it on a plate, and then I just had to wash my plate and a knife and cut the vegetables on. So that was really good.
It's disappearing bit by bit. And I'm sure you guys have questions about how to prepare some of this stuff. One of the things that I wanted to mention is skewers. You guys probably have a set of the metal skewers. And those work pretty well if you have something that needs to cook for a long time. But one thing that happens with the metal skewers is when they heat up, they'll cook the middle of whatever it is that's there. And vegetables have a tendency to get loose on a metal skewer. And they won't get loose on a wooden skewer. But to use a wooden skewer, you need to soak it in water. And so when I'm getting ready to prepare whatever we're going to have on skewers on the grill, I just put some of these on a plate or anything that will soak it a little bit. You just want it to be moist. And then that way the ends will still get a little bit charred, but they won't actually go up in flame, which is always an advantage when you're grilling. You don't want your food going up in flame. So, but these work really well for vegetables. The metal skewers work better if you're doing something that's really dense, like meats or chunks of a dense seafood. But the wooden skewers work better if you're using vegetables, which is why we have these beautiful. These are heirloom tomatoes, the ones that didn't get big, from one of the booths at the farmer's market. And from, I think it was Aguilar Farms. Was that who had the tomatoes? Yeah, anyway, one of the ones that's in Phoenix where the tomatoes are all, coming off the vine right now. So, yes?
Make those in bamboo skewers too, that don't flame up.
They don't flame up? Oh, nice. Yeah, wish you could do you reuse those, or are they?
Sometimes you can.
Sometimes you can, yeah. So, so these are ready to go, and I guess I'll give it up. Beautiful, man. All right. Okay, and then I wanted to show you how we prepare the various vegetables. Now, the red bell peppers that are going out right now, we forgot to hold one out to show you the preparation. Basically, cut it in half, scoop out the seeds, and then if you have these are amazing for vegetables also, because you can cut it really small if you want to, and you just set this on top of the grill, and then you can almost stir fry with your spatula. So instead of getting your spatula under things and turning them, or using your tongs and turning things, you can actually cut the vegetables to whatever size you want, and then just set this on the grill, and then you can grill right on top of it. Okay? So if you've got one of these puppies, it doesn't matter what size you make the vegetables. If you don't, if you're just going to be putting it on the grill, be sure that when you cut your red pepper strips that you don't cut them small enough that they're going to fall in, they're constantly falling in between the little slats of the grill. That'll drive you completely bonkers. So cut them big enough. You can always cut them smaller when you're ready to eat it, but cut them big enough that they don't fall through. Now, one of the things that I've found with summer squash is that if you get baby summer squash, like we have, I kind of put in a few too many squash plants, which often happens in the garden. And so we have little crooknecks that we're eating when they're about this big. And even picking all the crooknecks off when they're about this big, I still have, I mean, this was one of the smaller ones when I went out there this morning to get my crooknecks. So baby vegetables, you can just throw them on the grill exactly the way they are. Don't season them with anything, don't oil them, don't do anything. Just toss them on the grill and turn them a couple times, and then when you cut them into their little rounds, they'll be they're really delicious. Then you can put any seasoning you want on it. The vegetables that I generally don't season at all, I usually don't season things like peppers, which have a kind of a shiny skin and it's hard to get anything to stick to it. And peppers have a wonderful sweet smell, sweet flavor that kind of caramelizes a little bit on the grill. So generally I don't do that. One of the cool things about grilling vegetables is that you can experiment a lot with it. And I put just a few of these things out. When you use grilling sauces, so that's barbecue sauce or teriyaki sauce or a mango chutney sauce or anything on tofu, it gives it a really nice sort of crusty outside. Tofu, contrary to what you'll hear about marinating tofu, it really doesn't absorb a lot of flavor into the inner layers. That's why when you're sauteing tofu, you cut it into cubes so it has a lot of surface area. So when you get a slab of tofu, cut it kind of thin. Don't cut them thick like a steak. Cut them maybe three-quarters of an inch or so, because you want a lot of surface area on the top and the bottom in order to get the flavor. And so try different sauces. I mean, I've actually tried orange marmalade, which made an amazing, nice glaze on top of the tofu when you grilled it. So, experiment with what you have in your fridge. All of us, we open the door to our refrigerator and it's just full of all this stuff, that we hardly ever use. Get some of that out and experiment with it. I also have, I guess my Shakon herbs didn't make it out here. Thanks, Robin. I also have a number of herb mixes that you can try. And there's a variety of them on the vegetables that we're grilling right now. We have a tandoori seasoning. We have a 21 herb blend. Curry works really well. Around our house, we use Old Bay for everything. So it goes on the vegetables, it goes on the fish, it goes on the meat when we have it. And so play around with different herb blends, different blends of these as well. So I'm going to show you what I would do with a zucchini that isn't very big. If you end up with a really big zucchini, just cut it like a steak. Just slice it up like a steak and put olive oil on the top of it and then put it on the grill. Now if I slice this into little rounds, I can put them here and I can like saute them on here. But if I just am setting them on the grill, then it's going to fall through. Oh, that smells good. You guys smell that? Oh, man. Okay. And then what I like to do is get the very edge of the skin off so that I can get oil and seasoning on both sides of it. Okay? Because this is it naturally has a waxy skin and nothing will really stick to it. There should be a bowl with my little brush, pull olive oil in my brush. And then, now, if you like, it depends on how long you like to cook them. If you cut it really thin, you're going to have those vegetables on and off of the grill in 3 minutes, okay? I kind of like to have a little bit more time to play with. So I generally cut both sides so that I'm going to get some seasoning on both sides of the slabs. And then if I cut this in half, it's going to be a 4 to 5 minute aside vegetable, okay? And that's really what I like to play with. I like to have a little bit of extra time because I get distracted. Can you guys see in the back? Are you okay?
If the mirror tilted just a touch more that way, just a little bit.
Oh, yeah. Is that it?
A little more. Yeah.
Is that
awesome.
it? All right, good. Okay. So, so I will set these aside. And then eggplant. These are pretty small eggplant, so these would probably end up being cut on a diagonal so they don't fall through. And once again, eggplant are just crazy because they will suck up whatever you put on here. So if you just want to put a little bit of tamari soy on it, which is always what we use because it's gluten-free. I'm gluten intolerant, and so everything we have at the house is gluten-free. So then I've got steaks of eggplant. And check this out. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit of olive oil on my zucchini. Okay? And it's going to sit there on top of the zucchini. Okay, watch what happens when I put a little bit of olive oil on my eggplant. It disappears. It's going to get sucked into there. And so if you put something like a tamari soy on there, or if you put one of these guys on here, like this teriyaki, it'll soak right into the eggplant and flavor the whole thing all the way through. Okay? So remember that with eggplant, that you're going to get a whole lot more flavor all the way throughout it. The other thing about eggplant is that it's really dense with, it's water dense, not fiber dense. And so if you cook it as long as you cook the zucchini, you're going to end up with a big mush. And which actually, you know, mushed zucchini makes a really interesting dish, especially mixed up with some pepper and some other different things. But if you want to eat it like you're having a steak of eggplant, don't cook it for very long. I mean, this one cooked 2 to 3 minutes on a side would be absolutely a lot. Probably just 2 minutes would do it. I like the eggplant to still have a little bit of texture to it. So that's how I would prepare the eggplant. I'm going to show you the sprinkling, particularly with Old Bay. Another plant that we have a lot of in the garden is patty pan. I was a little late on getting my winter squash in the ground, and so I bought plants from a local nursery, and I planted 2 beds of butternut squash, and they all turned out to be patty pan. I had also grown patty pan squash from seed, so I now have 2 beds of patty pan squash and another, little heap of patty pan squash. So I'm looking for all sorts of different ways to enjoy patty pan squash this year. And when you guys come in for appointments, you'll probably find a little basket of patty pan squash to take home. But once again, it has a waxy skin, and the waxy skin is good, and it cooks up good. But you're not going to get any seasoning to stick through that waxy skin. So I'm going to cut a little bit, get a surface that's going to absorb the flavors. Another interesting thing about patty pan is that it has a ridge along here, and if you cut through the ridge, then you're going to end up with sort of a waste, because that little narrow part will get overcooked. So when you have a vegetable that has a thick part and then a thin part, or it has a contour, try to cut it so that you're not getting thick parts and thin parts in the same piece that's going to go on the grill at the same time. Okay? So I'm just going to slice this down this away. Okay, so that one, the nice thing is that if I hand this to Dan, who does all the grilling, if I hand this to Dan and it's a little skinny thing, then he'll know to put it off on a little corner of the grill that's a lot cooler. Okay, and then here, I'm going to, actually what I'm going to do before I cause injury to myself, is cut it in half. And then this way I'm going to cut the whole thick ridge. And so there's a lot of surface for spicing. And then sometimes when you cook these that have young seeds, the seeds will actually cook too, and they'll get a really good flavor. You can scoop it out if you don't like the idea of having the seeds on there. I usually just throw them on like this. If the seeds taste good, great. I got more nutrition there. If the seeds don't taste good, I just take my fork and scooch them off to the side. So you can play around with that however you want. And then once again, I need a little surface for spicing. So that's the way that I would prepare the patty pan. I would spice those up. Another way to cook, to do yellow squash is like I showed you on the diagonal with the eggplant. So if you want to, well, yellow squash is going to have the problem of having a seed cavity in it with big seeds in it. So those are fun to deal with by just cutting this puppy in half. And look, I have baby seeds. So I probably would cook it with the baby seeds. If you have the big stringy part in the middle and it's obvious that the seeds are all mature and they have sort of a harder thing around them, then I scoop those out and go ahead and season the inside. Once again, I have the same thing. This has a really delicate skin. This is going to be good. This is going to be good seasoned, and you're going to be able to eat the skin as well. So I want to get a little bit of the seasoning on the bottom part, and so I just cut off a little bit of the skin. Nothing goes to waste at my house because my dogs love vegetables, so they're eating all these little pieces. And then for the things that the dogs absolutely refuse to have anything to do with, then those are going to be going to my compost. So everything's going to get used. Okay, so once again, we just brush these with a little olive oil, and I brush both sides. I cook top and bottom, and I season top and bottom. Okay, and then I'm probably going to put a little tandoori on it. I know that my tandoori comes out really fast, and so I just throw some in my hand and then sprinkle it. Otherwise, I end up with a big old coating of tandoori, and that's not fun. Okay, and then another problem that we have in our house is, I'm sure you have this problem with herb blends or spice blends, and you can't get them out of the shaker. Does that drive you crazy or what? It's like, I don't know, it drives me completely nuts. So you start out, everything's coming out okay, and pretty soon you can't get any more out. So just use your hand. Just toss a little bit in the palm of your hand, and then pick it up with your fingers and sprinkle it. Now people say, oh, but there's salt in there. There is salt in here, but you're using a very small amount. So the amount that you get on here is really pretty small. So you just sprinkle it with the spice, or brush it with the sauce if you have something that's going to absorb the sauce, like the eggplant or the tofu. Okay, so I don't usually put greens on. My skillet ended up outside. There's actually a perforated skillet like this, and you can do a really nice, you can chop your greens up and you can actually saute them right up the grill. We lived in the same house that we bought 32 years ago when we first came to town, and we didn't have any kids yet, and we were newlyweds and just starting our practices. And we live in that same house. It doesn't have air conditioning. We have a little room air on the living room, room air on the bedroom if we need it, but it doesn't have central air conditioning. So I'm really careful about heating my house up. And I cook everything on the grill in the summertime. I have my skillet out there, and I'm doing my skillet stuff. I cook pizza out there. Just heat up the pizza stone on top of this, and I So everything at our house gets cooked on the grill in the summertime, and it's great. And people say, "Oh, you must be boiling," and actually, if you're not heating your house up 3 times a day with whatever you're doing in the kitchen, the house stays really nice and cool. So we're good. They sent us back.
Yes, they said you were talking, so you might want to reference that.
You made reference to your pan.
Okay, yeah, I actually have it. Okay, and then I put these in here to remind me about beans, stringy things that are absolutely going to fall through. I love these. You can also use grill baskets. How many of you guys have grill baskets? Yeah, yeah. I have not found a grill basket yet that really works the way that they say it's going to work, where you just flip it over. Because when I flip it over, stuff falls out, and it drives me bonkers. So I've reverted completely to these cooking grills, because then I can do asparagus, and you can just sort of roll it along, and you don't have to worry about it, getting a little off kilter and falling between the little things. You don't have to pick it up with tongs. And beans, green beans are really good cooked on the grill too. I know asparagus is kind of a standard. A lot of people have tried
How long
asparagus.
does it take to go to green beans?
It really doesn't take very long. These are really tender. They don't have very big beans inside of them. And I would say that this is probably going to take 3 or 4 minutes. Yeah. Of course, asparagus will take longer because it has quite a bit more fiber in it than the green beans do. And I never make it very far with the sugar snap peas that come off the vine. They usually don't even make it into the house. So I've never tried sugar snap peas on there, but I bet they would work too. Yeah. So tomatoes, you can cut them up in chunks, and you can cut them up in steaks. See if you can find a denser tomato that has a whole lot more flesh rather than the really loose stuff. I really like putting them on the skewers, the wooden skewers, because they maintain a little bit more of their texture that way. And then last but not least, our sweet potatoes. I had a friend who used to grill sweet potatoes, and she always microwaved them first. And you really don't need to microwave them first. You can put them on the grill for a long time in foil if you want to. What I really like to do is set you guys out to the side. I like to cut them on the diagonal, and Dan likes them almost raw, and I like them really well cooked. So it's an easy solution at our house because I slice some of them thick. So here's one for Dan, and here's one for me. And then we cook them about the same amount of time. They all come off so we can have a meal together. And mine are cooked just right, so are his. Okay. And then these guys are really good with some tandoori seasoning on them, something with some turmeric in it. Turmeric, is a really healthy spice that's going to help with inflammation. Ingredients matter. Use some good stuff. And oh no, there's more for me and less for Dan. Oh. That's the way it happens sometimes. Okay, these guys are sort of halfway in between the eggplant and the zucchini. They do absorb some of the oil, and they tend to hold on to the flavor a little bit better. The flavor that you put on it. So Old Bay is good on these guys. Tandoori seasoning is good on these. Curry powder is good on them. Curried sweet potatoes. It's a really good mixture. So this is my tandoori. Anything. Chili powder. Oh, chili powder is good. We're doing peaches for dessert. Another thing that's really good grilled is mangoes. Mangoes grilled and chili powder. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay. So I see the food is coming, and I think we'll be sending around samples one after another. Any questions? Very good.
What kind of oil are you using?
It's extra virgin cold pressed, first pressed olive oil. And we also buy organic, so trying to get a combination of all of those. So we've got organic, extra virgin, cold pressed, first pressed olive oil. The store that I was at was Whole Foods, and I couldn't find one of those from California. And I think it's because the organic labeling is really hard to accomplish in California. I bet a bunch of those olive oils were about as good as any organic olive oil you buy from Italy. But I wanted to get local. We were trying to do local more stuff for you guys. And so I wanted to get California olive oil, but I couldn't find any that had all the combinations I was looking for. So, and I think if you get those combinations, it really doesn't matter what brand you get. And there's almost always one on sale. That, like this, I got a bottle, it's not here. I got a bottle that's maybe about this tall, about this big around, and it was $14.99. It was a pretty good buy for, organic, cold pressed, first pressed, extra virgin olive oil. It was a pretty good buy. So, any other questions? Yeah.
When you see what the tofu is, do you sear it first before you put any sauces on it, or?
Nope.
So you just put the sauces
No,
on?
I use the tofu that is packaged not in water.
Yeah.
Now, if you want it, it's just packaged in a plastic wrap, okay? This isn't the boxed stuff that sits on the shelf in the pantry. This is, and then there's the boxed stuff that sits on the shelf in the pantry. You can't use that for grilling, okay? So set that aside. So then there's the tofu that comes in the tub that has some water in it, okay? You can use that if you use extra firm, but you have to press the water, you have to press the extra water out. So you got to put some paper towels below it, paper towels above it, put a book on it, and let it sit there for 20 minutes or so. That's way too much prep for me. That takes way too much time. So I get the tofu that it looks like it's just in a Ziploc. It just looks like it's been maybe shrink wrapped or something like that. And there's a little bit of moisture in it, but not much. You take it out of the package. You rinse it off and dry it with a paper towel, and just with your hands, just kind of press it a little bit and get whatever you can right there, and then it's ready to cut. And I just take the slab of tofu and I cut it in quarters, okay? And that gives you a thickness about like that. And if you get it too thick, remember the flavoring is not going to penetrate into it. So you want it to be, you can slice it really thin and put it on the grill and get like the tofu jerky, especially if you use teriyaki. And it's really good that way. So, but you have to brush it a couple times. You got to watch it, turn it a couple times. But that's super good if you wanted to spend the time and effort with that. Once again, it's got to be simple. It's got to be really straightforward. In our house, we don't have a, we come home, we're kind of tired. We want to, cook and have enjoy each other's company. And so we usually take that tofu, okay, and cut it in quarters. And then when you brush it, the flavor will it'll form a sort of a crust on top as you grill it. Yeah. So, any other questions? Okay. Oh yeah. Hey.
Edie, have you ever used those wooden planks to cook on?
The wooden planks for cooking, I have not experimented with that. Have you?
Yeah, but with meat mainly. Salmon and...
Salmon. I wonder if they'd be good for tofu.
I think they'd be great for that.
Wow. I bet it would be great for tofu.
Yeah,
that's a great idea.
Drop away.
Yeah. Oh, all right. We're going to try that. We're going to try wooden planks for tofu. I bet that would be good. You guys can do that. And so we're going to continue to bring you things. So I'm going to take a break here and slice up peaches because we're going to have peaches for you guys for dessert. Oh yeah. Yeah, as if watermelon and tomatoes and everything else is in one. And if you have any questions, come on up. They're grilling outside. If you want to go ask the grillers a question or two, feel free. And other than that, I think we're good.